our next episode, we are uncovering food delivery, the hidden risks and how to protect yourself. Welcome to the Big Bite Food Safety Show, your go-to source for everything you need to know about food safety. I'm Alison Richards, your food safety girl and host. Now, food delivery services have exploded over the past few years, offering unmatched convenience. But behind that convenience lies a hidden risk that many don't consider: the safety of the food during delivery. Today, we're diving into the risks that come with food delivery drivers, the unsung link between your meal and your doorstep. Stay tuned as we explore how delivery drivers impact your food's safety. Now, today we'll be joined in studio by two special guests: Javon Douglas, CEO of the Cake Delivery Guys, a cake delivery company, and Fritz Francis, food safety specialist with the Ministry of Health and Wellness's Environmental Health Unit. The title of today's show is Food Delivery, the Hidden Risks and How to Protect Yourself. Remember to send any questions you have to our WhatsApp line at 876-280-6629. Your questions, of course, will be answered as soon as we can. Now, to get into today's show, I have a video to share with you, and I think you can guess is which video, because I'm sure over the weekend when this surfaced, I may have come to your mind. We have a video to show you of some chicken that washed ashore, a reefer container of chicken that washed ashore over on by Hellshaw, Portmore. And I have a question to ask you, and I want you to run on over to our YouTube live stream. That's Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. And I want you to comment: have you or anyone you know consumed any of this chicken? If you're willing to share, or if you're brave enough to share, let us know in the comments. Head on over right now and check out this video for me, please. Guys, so that is a preview, or just a bit of what took place over the weekend. And that brings us straight into our food safety news and update, because what would a food safety show be without some food safety news? Now, a mysterious incident unfolded over the weekend as a shipping container filled with frozen chicken washed up on the shores of Jamaica. The container, which was bound for another country, was discovered along the island's coastline, raising concerns among local authorities. The Jamaican Ministry of Agriculture has issued a public advisory urging citizens not to consume any of the chicken found washed ashore. They are currently investigating the origins of the container, though it's suspected to have come from a shipping mishap or environmental factors. The minister has emphasized the importance of food safety and biosecurity, reminding the public of the potential health risks involved. Authorities are working to secure the area and prevent any further public exposure to the poultry. So we're going to be staying tuned for any updates as investigations continue into this rather unusual and concerning event. There are some reasons why we should not consume this chicken. I've been seeing the comments on social media all weekend. People, say the government must shut up, it's free chicken and whatever. But I'm here to share with you some solid reasons why you should not consume this chicken. And the number one reason is because of its unknown source and the safety risks that are associated. Now, the chicken's origin is uncertain, and there is no way to confirm whether it was properly stored, transported, or handled before it reached the shores of Jamaica. This lack of traceability raises concerns about its safety for consumption. Now, if the chicken was exposed to contaminants during its journey, it could pose significant health risks. Now, there is a risk of bacterial growth. Now, even though the chicken was frozen initially during transport, it may have thawed during transport, you mean after it fell off. Now, when frozen chicken thaws and it is not kept at the proper temperature, bacteria like Salmonella and Campylobacter can multiply rapidly. And these bacteria can cause foodborne illnesses, leading to symptoms like vomiting, diarrhea, and fever. Now, some bacteria, such as Staphylococcus aureus or Bacillus cereus, can produce heat-stable toxins. And what this means is that even after you cook that chicken, those toxins are still there, ready to get you sick. Now, if these bacteria were present due to improper handling or thawing, cooking the chicken, of course, would not eliminate this risk, as the toxins would remain harmful, potentially causing food poisoning symptoms like nausea, vomiting, and stomach cramps. Now, I did notice on some of the videos that persons had showing across social media that there were ice crystals on the inside of the packaging, which is a clear sign that the chicken has undergone temperature fluctuations. This suggests that the chicken may have defrosted, then refrozen. And this could have happened because there are some points during transit or in the water where probably during the day, the chicken started thawing out, but then as it got to night, the sea temperatures got colder and it refroze. So this temperature fluctuation can compromise the quality of the chicken, leading to possible bacteria growth and spoilage. Now, if the chicken was in contact with seawater or debris on the shore, it could have been contaminated with harmful microorganisms, bacteria, or even chemicals from the ocean. Now, eating food exposed to these elements could introduce harmful pathogens or toxins in the body. There is no guarantee that these chickens were properly stored. We don't know where it's coming from. And of course, the rigid regulatory inspections and conformity assessments that are imports are usually subjected to. Of course, this chicken would not have undergone that because it did not come through a port of entry. So those are just some tips on why you should not eat the chicken. Don't shoot the messenger. Now, into our news item for number 2 is a popular Kingston restaurant is now in hot water after they have been reportedly violating a closure notice from the Kingston and St. Andrew Health Department. The restaurant, which was shut down on March 26 for serious health violations, continued to operate, advertising a seafood boil party on social media just days after. Now, news reports indicate that when the restaurant was visited on Friday afternoon, employees denied any knowledge of the closure, with one claiming that nothing was wrong and the place is always clean. However, after some time, the restaurant staff quickly retracted their statements, admitting they were only on site for cleaning. So despite the closure, social media posts advertised the event, leading several customers to show up at the door, only to be turned away. The health department cited multiple issues, including roaches, rodent droppings, and broken plumbing as reasons for the shutdown. Now, the owner has denied the allegations and claimed that the situation has been resolved. However, health officials insist that the closure remains in effect until all necessary corrections are made. The authorities are continuing their investigation into this defiance of the public health order. Our third news item for today is that Watson Enterprises Incorporated is recalling 2 flavors of Nissin brand Big Cup noodles in Canada due to undeclared shrimp and peanuts. We have a photo up of this product on our YouTube live stream right now. It is cited as its posing risk to individuals with allergies. So peanuts and shrimp, are known allergies. And of course, if it's undeclared, it means that persons who are allergic to these two particular allergens could be at serious risk. The recall was issued on March 28 by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. And the affected products include Nissin Big Cup noodles, 101 gram with date codes 2025.5.14 and 2025.6.19, and the Nissin Big Cup Noodle Curry Flavor, 120 gram with date codes 2025.4.30 and 2025.6.14. The UPC numbers are 4902105 003374 for the regular flavor and 4902105 003381 for the curry flavors, and these codes are displayed right now on our YouTube live screen. The noodle cups were sold online and distributed in Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. Consumers with shrimp or peanut allergies are advised to dispose of the products or return them to the store for a refund. No product photos were provided in this recall notice. So, of course, head on out, if you're living, if you know family members who are living in these areas, it's important to share these type of news with them, because you do know that sometimes our relatives come back home with some of these products, and it's pretty interesting to look out and for us to be in the know also, that we can share it with them. Our fourth news item for today is that Tony Chocolonely is a recalling chocolate products sold in over 20 countries, including the US and Canada, due to potential contamination with small stones. The affected products include the Dark Almond Sea Salt Bar and Everything Bar, both sold nationwide from February 7 to March 24, 2025. We have a photo up. The recall was prompted after 12 consumer complaints reportedly finding small stones in the chocolate. Though no injuries were reported. The affected lot numbers for the Dark Almond Sea Salt Bar are 163094, 162634, and M16263. While the Everything Bar has lot numbers 4327, 4330, 4331, and M4331. The stones, ranging in size from 6 to 13 millimeters, pose a choking hazard and a risk of injury. So if you have any of these products in your possession, of course, you want to discard of them immediately and to seek medical attention if you are in need. Stay tuned to the Big Bite Food Safety Show. We're going for a quick break.
Hiring is tough. You spend weeks, maybe months searching but still can't find the right fit. And even when you do, onboarding, payroll, and benefits become another headache. Stop wasting time. Let TalentBox Caribbean do the work at a fraction of the cost. From sourcing to interviewing, we do it all. Don't settle for the wrong hire. Schedule your strategy call today. Call 876-960-0066 or visit www.talentboxcaribbean.com. TalentBox Caribbean, connection made easy.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online on April 16 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast the groundbreaking ceremony for the Raintree Commercial Development. Raintree Commercial Complex aligns with UDC's goal of developing urban spaces. On 108 acres at Block 1, it will offer commercial and light industrial opportunities, creating 2,000 short-term and 5,000 long-term jobs, benefiting the Caymanas community. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online on April 16 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for this groundbreaking activity. It's the groundbreaking ceremony for the Raintree Commercial Development. Also catch the live stream on Nationwide's YouTube channel at Nationwide Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Urban Development Corporation.
Nationwide 90 FM wants to help you find your home sweet home with all things real estate. A 15-minute program during Nationwide this morning, every Wednesday at 8:35 a.m. All Things Real Estate gives you expert advice on how to navigate the process of owning any real estate, from residential and commercial to industrial or even vacant real estate. We'll guide you through every square foot of information. Now, let's turn that for sale into sold with All Things Real Estate every Wednesday at 8:35 a.m. on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
All Things Real Estate is brought to you by Law Boss Attorneys at Law.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour. Fired.
Also, tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Welcome back to the Big Bite Food Safety Show. Today we're talking about food delivery, the hidden risks, and how to protect yourself. Today I have in studio with me, or right now rather, our first guest for today, Mr. Javon Douglas, who is the CEO of the Cake Delivery Guys. Welcome, Javon. Now, before we get into the discussion, I just wanted to speak a bit about why we're here today. Now, the rapid rise of food delivery services in Jamaica has changed how we order food. While drivers are vital for getting your food to you quickly, they often don't have any formal training in food safety. Delivery drivers may handle multiple orders at once, risking cross-contamination and the challenge of maintaining safe temperatures while on the move. Keeping hot food hot, cold food cold, that may be a big problem. Now, the challenge of maintaining safe temperatures while on the move is real, and the lack of oversight and training for delivery personnel means there is a potential of mishandling of food. Now, my question to you, and feel free to head on over to our live YouTube stream, Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. How many of you have received food that was not hot enough? Or maybe you've had cold food delivered warm. How did it make you feel? Now, over the past week, I ran a poll on my social media accounts where I asked my followers 2 questions. I asked them, have you ever had a bad experience with food delivery personnel? And 52% of them said no, while a 48% said yes. I then asked, does your food delivery guy have a food handler's permit? 5% said yes. 0 said no, and 95% of them said I have no clue. I even went a bit further. I asked them to share any bad experiences they may have had, and trust me, they were so funny, I almost cried. There was this one person that said she literally saw a delivery guy pull over and eating somebody's food. She said one had some of her friend's fries, and when the friend confronted him about the fries, he said he used it as an opportunity to invite her girlfriend out on a date. So, I mean, the responses were comical. And today, that's why I decided, let's just have this discussion. And thank you, Javon, so much for, agreeing rather to be a part of this discussion. And having gotten the introduction out of the way, let's move on to focusing on you. We're zooming in on you now as a delivery guy person. And before we jump, just give us an idea of what your company is about. What is it that you guys deliver?
All right, so the cake delivery guys, we deliver cake, as the name states, cake delivery. It's very rare we do items like grocery items. However, our main focus is cakes and pastries, yes.
Okay, and my first question, because I wouldn't be the food safety girl if I never did ask you, do you have a food handler's permit? Because I feel like this is so important, people. It's often overlooked. I know I reached out to a few food delivery companies before when I was conducting some research to this show, and I asked them, do I need a food handler to be a delivery guy, driver? And I believe only one responded and said yes. So I do realize that there's that gap where some of these companies really probably are just not aware that, you need a food handlers to operate a delivery service. So do you have a food handler's permit?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Did you carry the proof with you? You have a food handler's on you?
Yeah, man. Definitely.
Oh, I think we have... So this looks like, when you go and do your food handlers, just for our listeners and our viewers, and we have for our viewers, we have it up there on our screen. This is a receipt that the Public Health Department issues, a letter rather, when you go and do your test, and they have not prepared your permit yet. They give you a letter to say that you come and you do your test, and this permit is valid for X time. So, good going, Javon.
Okay, thanks.
So, delivery drivers are often on the go. They're handling multiple orders at once. How do you ensure that your drivers maintain safe handling practices to avoid contamination or damage to the cakes that you deliver?
All right, so for the cake delivery guys, we don't do bike services.
Okay.
Being that the cakes are like our VIPs, we don't do bike services to prevent damages and so forth. In terms of for the vehicles, our vehicles are designed in a way to stock our cakes.
Okay.
So they don't get damages, they don't shift from side to side, so forth.
Because the last thing I would need if I ordered a cake is to get a cake that is squished up.
No. You won't get that from the cake delivery.
Oh, so I wouldn't have to request a refund?
No,
okay, got it.
Not.
So what about temperature control? I know this is a critical issue with food delivery, especially for cakes, because of our hot temperature and our climate here in Jamaica. We have to refrigerate our cakes. How do you maintain that temperature when you're doing your delivery?
All right, so as I said, we use our vehicles to do the delivery.
So you have AC?
And we use the AC.
Oh, okay.
AC is our temperature guide there.
Okay, so that's fair enough. And do you do deliveries out of town? Because I know that can sometimes be a concern. Like if you're traveling all the way from St. Anne, you're coming all the way to Kingston, that could become an issue.
All right, so that's something we're trying to organize now because I've gotten orders all the way in Montego Bay. And currently, while we're unable to facilitate that, it's something we're working on because we want to service the entire Jamaica.
And so you have to go kind of make sure that you have to go figure out the cool part of it, how to maintain the temperature for your cake delivery.
Yes,
and my
definitely.
final question to you today is, what advice would you give to consumers to help them ensure the cakes they order from delivery services such as yours arrive safely and in the best condition possible? What is it that they can look out for?
Well, you can look out for let me speak about the cake delivery guys. Your cakes will be delivered sealed in their boxes, just like so from wherever we deliver from, those entities, just as how they gave it to us, we'll ensure it arrive just the same to you in cool and decent manner.
All right, so one of the things I would look out for if I, order a cake from you is if the cake is sweating. I mean, it's kind of hard, but you have to put some measures in place. Is it sweating, if you see the little dye from the blue start drip on the white and those type of things. So what do you do to ensure that doesn't happen for your clients?
Well, as I said, we use our AC, and AC is always maintained. So one of the things we have to do is ensure that our vehicles are always serviced and the AC is always up and running.
So question, I just picking your brain. You think you could do a cake delivery service on like a bike? Is that doable?
Well, it can. So I remember once I tried it, and so it was a small cake. I had my insulated bag, but what I did, I had ice packs in there, so that maintained the temperature.
Yeah, that's
and,
a pretty.
Yeah, and it wasn't like somewhere far. It wasn't a far delivery. So that's how we did it that one time.
And I like you mentioned the insulated bags, because a lot of these drivers I see driving around and them have one little something that look like an insulated bag, but I doubt it's insulating anything. And you went a bit further. You went a bit further into the ice packs.
Yes.
So even though it reduces the spaces in the boxes, it's still adding that extra layer of protection in terms of temperature and trying to keep the product cool. And you've mentioned some pretty insightful tips here. What made you decide that you needed to get a food handler's permit for this business in particular?
Well, I know that once you're thinking about doing anything where food is concerned, it would require a food handler. So I had my food handlers before I even started the cake delivery, guys.
Because you just know say a food the thing there, you just have to need it one way or the other.
Yeah.
What would you tell? Because I know in having this discussion and with the poll I ran on social media, persons really did feel like that's not needed. One person even reached out and said to me they feel like having a food handler's permit is just not necessary because, why do I need one? They're saying that the driver not touching the food, they're not preparing the food. Why is it that they need one? What do you have to say about that?
Well, as it states by the public health department, once you're operating and you're handling food as a business or establishment, you are required by law to have a food handler.
So I hear that. One say it again for them. And my public health specialist is coming on after this, but I'm going to make him double down on it. But I want to hear it from you, a delivery personnel. Just repeat for them.
All right. So by law, it is mandatory to operate with a valid food handler's permit. As long as you're thinking about the business, and even if you're the janitor in a particular
once you're
business,
interacting with the food, you need a food handler.
Valid food handler.
And see, we've displayed what that letter looks like. It have to have the crest of the government on it. It have to have Sarah or that particular department's logo on it. So, nobody can come in a little piece of letter and say the public health. It has to be legitimate.
Yes.
And it's showing that Javan did his test is when you do it. October 10, 2024, good.
Yes.
And you have the food handler's permit, which will expire 12 months from that date, and it's telling you that the letter is valid. So these are the things. Don't be afraid to ask your food delivery driver if they do have a food handler's permit. Nothing is wrong. And I mean, if you ask and them get faced, the chances are they probably don't have one because they're so offended. So thank you so much. And I just wanted to, in closing with your interview today, that training, I think it's very important for a positive food safety culture in Jamaica, for persons to take food safety more importantly. Think about a delivery driver having something in plastic. It might not be cake, but they have a food item, a box food, and by the time the food reach to you, is that the food that play a fight,
That will be wet.
And the question is, when the delivery driver takes this package out of his box and sees that it's in the state that it is in, is him hand him tech that when him use touch him phone and him bike handle and him out a road and him a go and dilly through the traffic. Like all of these things you need to think of. All right, and you also need to think of the plastic bag that they might put these boxes in. Is it food grade? Are they washing out these coolers? The coolers on the back of the bike.
Yeah, you have to ensure they are clean, because that would be defeating the whole purpose.
Thanks for that input. So we're going to go for a quick break. Stay tuned to the Big Bite Food Safety Show.
At the Jamaica Customs Agency, we care for our employees, customers, stakeholders, citizens, and our country. Customs cares. The temperature by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Tune in to Nationwide at 5 on April 8 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. as we broadcast the launch of the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. We hear that the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra has a stunning design with flashing fast 5G and an AI-powered camera that transforms your photos. I wonder what other feature it has. Find out on Nationwide at 5, April 8 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's the launch of the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Catch the live stream on Nationwide's YouTube channel at Nationwide Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Smart Mobile Solutions, your gateway to technology.
Welcome back to the Big Bite Food Safety Show. My name is Alison Richards, your food safety girl and host. And right now in studio is my very esteemed food safety colleague, Mr. Fritz Francis, who is a food safety specialist with the Ministry of Health and Wellness's Environmental Health Unit. Thank you for coming in today. Welcome to the Big Bite Food Safety Show. So before we get into the discussions, tell us a bit about the role of public health, your department in particular, in food safety. What is it that you do over there?
All right, thank you for having me, Alison.
Sure.
Food safety is a priority program of environmental health, the Ministry of Health and Wellness. So the Ministry of Health and Wellness plays an important role in food safety by overseeing regulations and standards to ensure that products are safe for consumers. The Environmental Health Unit also works to prevent and reduce the prevalence of foodborne illnesses through education, research, inspections, and enforcing public health laws. We also collaborate with other governmental bodies, local authorities, and food industry to create guidelines that protect public health. This includes overseeing food handling, preparation, storage, and transportation to ensure all these components are aligned with the required standards.
So I think the big ticket question, which I have, and I'm sure my viewers and listeners do have, is it your department that goes out to do inspections at our restaurants and all our food handling establishments?
That's correct.
So you're the best person to be inside here today. Very happy to have you. Now, with the rise of food delivery services, how do you see the risks of foodborne illnesses changing, especially when delivery drivers may not have formal food safety training? I don't know if you heard earlier, but I was speaking to Javon Douglas, who is the owner of a cake delivery company, and he has a food handler's permit, but I ran a poll over the weekend, and persons basically said them don't know if the food delivery guy have a food handler's permit, and people just genuinely don't know. So tell us, how important is it? What are the risks associated for somebody who isn't aware of the basic food handling practices that ensure food safety?
Well, the popularity of food delivery services has brought convenience to the consumers.
True that.
However, it has also brought challenges to food safety.
Yes.
So many drivers don't have formal food safety training. And as a result, there are risks associated with improper handling, temperature control, as you mentioned earlier, and contamination during transport. So foodborne illness can arise if the food is left at unsafe temperatures for extended periods or if the food is exposed to contaminants during transportation. Without proper training, there's a lack of awareness on how to prevent these food safety risks, which is why we're encouraging entities that do contract these food service delivery personnel to ensure that they have the required training before they are employed in the food business.
And that is such a important, and that is a major concern for me as a food safety professional, because I did my research. I looked at quite a few of these food delivery services that are offered in Jamaica, and going through, there was no mention of food safety. Like, I mean, I think people they know food safety exists, but it isn't at the forefront of their mind. So I think, when companies are thinking about the convenience and offering the service of convenience, there isn't much thought about what the requirement is for a food delivery driver. I even reached out to a few of these companies, incognito, pretending like I want a little roast to be a food delivery driver, and asked them, do I need a food handler's permit? And I believe only one responded, and the response was yes. So, but then on the website, there was no indication, there's no statement of, we ensure that you get safe food, or it's more about just the convenience, the time that is allotted for you to get your food. Even in the frequently asked questions, there was no consideration for persons who may have that question of, does your food delivery drivers have a food handler's permit? So I think that's a pretty important call to action for a lot of these companies to ensure that their food delivery drivers do have the requisite training to carry out these functions. And I started a discussion with Jaman earlier about food handling. Persons may be like, oh, but I just food in my carry. Like, why, you not cook the food. Like, why me if you have a food handlers? Can you share a bit more about that based on your experience, Fritz?
All right. So, as I would have said, that one of the biggest gap is the lack of standardized food safety training for drivers. So many of the service operators, they operate without clear protocols in place to ensure that the food is handled properly during transport. So that is a serious thing that we have to look at, because mishaps can happen, and we have to really take that seriously. And one of the most common causes of mishaps during food delivery service is temperature control.
That's true.
And if we are not abiding by the correct temperature, then the risk is great, and foodborne illness is not something that we should take lightly.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, we know that food delivery drivers are often on the move with multiple orders, because I've had the experience, where I order something and them I say them have 3 more stop for make, and them come with a whole bunch of food. How significant is the risk of cross-contamination between foods, and how can we mitigate that risk?
Cross-contamination is a very real risk in food delivery. When we package food in one bag or a container, there's a risk that bacteria from one of the food items, for example, raw food, and we have ready-to-eat food, there's a real risk that the bacteria from the raw food can spread to the ready-to-eat food, such as your salads and your desserts. So to mitigate this risk, we are advising these food service providers and food delivery drivers, of course, to use separate packages for these food items. And this in itself will prevent the risk of cross-contamination.
And what about, a delivery driver? Him up and down, him a collect money, him up on him phone, him a vroom with the hang up on the bike, and him a, all of those things. How, in terms of that sanitation part of it, in terms of washing the hands, what is a good control method for that? Because, him come off of the bike, him carry your food, come give you, him a collect the money. What do you think could be a fix for that?
Well, the truth is, there is nothing that we can use to replace hand washing. Nothing that we can use to replace hand washing. While we can use alcohol-based hand rub as a substitute, if the hands are visibly soiled, then hand washing is the only option. Hand washing with soap and water, of course.
Okay, great. Now, you've worked in public health for a while. In your experience, how often do food delivery mishaps lead to foodborne illnesses, and what are the most common causes? Do you know of any local case where somebody would, I mean, the thing, and I wanted to interject just to say before you answer, that I know that traceability in food safety can be some work. So, you get sick, it's really hard to pinpoint unless you have a whole team of persons, circumventing what could have gone wrong. But just based on your experience, what can a delivery mishap that leads to foodborne illnesses, what are some of the most common causes?
Well, while we don't have specific data on the frequency of foodborne illnesses from delivery services, we are cognizant to the fact that mishaps can occur, particularly with temperature abuse and cross-contamination, as we outlined earlier. The most common causes are when food is not kept at safe temperature during delivery. Improper packaging and handling are also contributing factors. So these issues can lead to the growth of harmful bacteria, which then cause foodborne illness.
Okay, those are some solid points. And temperature control, because we spoke about, that being a very important and critical concern of food delivery. How dangerous is it when hot food cools down too quickly, or cold food warms up during delivery, or when you get something that's supposed to be hot, not hot, something that's supposed to be cold, not hot? How dangerous is that?
It is extremely dangerous. Hot foods must be kept hot at 60 degrees Celsius or above, and cold foods must be kept cold at 4 degrees Celsius or lower until served. So when food cools down quickly or warms up, it enters a stage called the danger zone. The danger zone is an area where bacteria multiply and grow rapidly.
Yeah, man, them go on with themselves in the zone.
Right. So if we think about examples such as meats, dairy, prepared dishes, and even raw foods, these can become breeding ground for pathogens if they are not kept at safe temperatures. So this is why temperature control is critical for food service delivery.
And before you came on, we touched on the whole igloo. Everybody have a igloo and a big, what you call it, that backpack thingy, that insulated backpack. I see some riding past and it's not even closed. It's like you just know that temperature control don't exist in that space. What is it that are consumed? Because I know that is a big thing. And as I said, the delivery drivers, they're just hustling. They're delivering and they're collecting that payment. What is it that tips? Because they don't need to be on a strict cleaning schedule. Like, at what point do you clean? What's your recommendation as it relates to that, to maintaining those cooler things that they use for temperature control? Because that really is the mechanism a lot of delivery drivers have implemented as it relates to temperature control.
So the container that they use to transport the food should be clean between uses.
Oh, wow.
Right. It should be clean between uses. What we're doing, we're avoiding contamination. We're avoiding other foods to be exposed to contaminants that may be in the container. So it should be clean between uses.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll continue the discussion when we come back.
All right.
Strong financial records are the backbone of every successful business. Let Dodge & Global handle your accounting needs, from bookkeeping to financial reporting, so you can focus on growth. Call us at 876-929-3670 or 876-926-5210. Email us at info@dodgen.global or visit us at dodgen.global. Dodge & Global, we make numbers work for you.
Revamp your space with Unique Living sleek fixed and sliding shower panels, shower systems and faucets, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, basins and kitchen sinks, closet and storage solutions, hanging aids, and more. Available in different finishes and sizes to match your style. Transform your space and visit us today at shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call us at 876-755-3661 or visit our website at uniquelivingja.com to shop.
Welcome back to the Big Bite Food Safety Show. Today's show is all about food delivery, the hidden risks, and how to protect yourself. I'm Alison, the food safety girl and host. And in studio today with me, I have Fritz Francis, who is a food safety specialist with the Ministry of Health and Wellness Environmental Health Unit. And that's the unit that goes out to our restaurants and, conducts inspections, any food handling establishment. And today we're before the break, we touched on a pretty important topic about the handling and the maintenance and care of the delivery. Is it what I refer to them as the cooler boxes that our delivery drivers have and towards the back of their bikes? How is it that they should be maintained? And Fritz mentioned that these boxes should be cleaned between deliveries. And coming into this conversation, I felt like it could have just be at the end of the day, just how based on how fast paced this whole industry is, but Mr. Francis is here to tell us that no, it is actually post every delivery, because you might be carrying some allergens in on one trip and then you go back for something else, and this might, you're taking it to somebody who is allergic to that particular allergen. Right. So that brings me into the next question. Outside of the temperature control, what are the biggest gaps in food safety that exist for food delivery services, and what regulations or protocols do you think need to be put in place to address these risks?
All right, so one of the biggest gaps that I would have noticed is the lack of the standardized food safety training for the delivery drivers. I would have said earlier, many delivery services operate without clear protocols in place to ensure that the food is handled properly during transportation. So what we need to do is to enforce the regulation around this area. We need to ensure that even during transportation, that we have what we call temperature monitoring. So the temperature should be taken before you leave the place of where you're picking up the food, and during transportation and after, to ensure that food safety is maintained throughout the delivery process.
And you've said something very important, because one of our commenters on our YouTube stream, Corinne, I believe she commented, she said the companies that use the service should vet companies and its staff, because you are responsible for the food that is being delivered. And I totally agree with you. There has to be, and one of those protocols really could be companies that are subcontracting these food delivery companies do have this as a requirement that, your workers, your delivery drivers must have a food handler's permit. So I'm imploring the consumers, the consumers, do ask these questions, because some companies just probably would not see it as important if it's not, there's no demand, there's not going to be that supply. What do you say about that, Fritz?
Well, consumers can take several steps, of course, to protect themselves when ordering food delivery. And as you mentioned, one of the steps is to check the certification status of the delivery drivers. That is very, very important, because the training that is conducted for these drivers will, of course, add an additional layer of protection, or provides an additional layer of protection for the consumer. Again, we need to ensure that we're ordering from a safe source, so not only the delivery drivers, but where we're ordering the food from. It must be certified by the medical officer of health for that parish. When we're ordering food, we must ensure or request temperature control. Ensure that if it is hot food, they're taking it at 60 degrees Celsius or above. If it is cold food, it is at 4 degrees Celsius or lower. If it is that we're ordering stuff that comes in packages, ensure that the packages is not compromised. If it is sealed, ensure that it is sealed. And if there is anything, don't be afraid to call. Anything untoward, anything off, don't be afraid to call the restaurant or the delivery service. A feedback really can help to improve the service as well.
So question, them can call you?
Of course, they can call the local health department, which is very, very important, of course, so we can intervene if there's anything untoward.
And since we're on this topic, I've realized, and I'm probably taking it for granted, a lot of persons don't know how to apply for a food handler's permit. Do you mind sharing how they can go about applying for a food handler's permit?
All right, so the first step is to go to the local health department within your respective parishes.
Okay.
And of course, complete the application form that is there, and you'll be paid the stipulated fee then you'll get an
Tell them
appointment.
the fee, because there should be no excuse after today's show, because people are going to say, Lord, you have to pay money. You know, everything with government, you have to pay money. Tell them the cheap price so they don't have to pay for a food
The
handler's permit.
fee
please.
for a food handler's permit is only $500.
Say it again for them to
It
hear.
is only $500 and it is valid for 1 year. After the year, you will have to renew it to continue in the food business.
Do they need to take any passport size photo?
Right.
What else do they need to take with that payment?
All right, so persons should take along
Mm-hmm.
2 passport size pictures, which is certified by a JP, of course, Superintendent of Police, Notary Public. Yeah.
All right, guys, so there you have it. Easy process to get a food handler's permit. 2 passport size photos certified by a JP or a police superintendent. That's what you said?
Right, that's correct.
And the completed form and $500. That is not even a box food. $500. You have no excuse. The next time someone, especially if you're doing food delivery and somebody corner you and ask you for your food handler's permit, there really should be no excuse. Now, Fritz, how can delivery services and food providers better collaborate to ensure the safety of food during transport? You've mentioned, asking for the requisite food handlers. Do you think it is a good idea to probably lay the responsibility of providing a temperature recording device? So, if I own a company and I want a delivery driver, should I give him a thermometer?
Right, I believe that's a best practice because that will ensure that you are taking the temperature during delivery, and if there is anything off, then you will make the adjustments.
And what is the message you have for a food delivery driver where him have to pass him girlfriend house to collect some food, and when him come back, him stop and I say him have to let off something and the food in the box out there, just wait for him to come back? What is your message for him?
We have to be careful of the time period, because foods that are left in the danger zone for over 2 hours is really unsafe for human consumption. Those foods should be discarded. So delivery drivers, be careful of the delay when delivering foods.
Awesome. And my last question for you today, Fritz, is what role does the public health education play in reducing food safety risks with delivery services? How can we better educate the public about what to look for when choosing a safe delivery option?
Public health education is key to reducing food safety risks. By informing consumers about the importance of food safety, we are empowering them to make safer choices when ordering food. We can also educate consumers about what to look for when choosing delivery services, such as whether the company follows food safety guidelines or whether the drivers, as I would have mentioned before, are trained in proper food handling techniques. Public health campaigns can go a far way. Educational material can be disseminated to relevant persons. And even where we are now on the Big Bite Food Safety Show, we can also spread the awareness and encourage safe food safety practices.
That's so true. And we're just tuning into some comments here that we have online. Corinne, I laughed when I saw this comment. Corinne says, we are not taking any big bites of chicken. And I love that for you, Corinne. And I hope everybody who hears this can relate and, just don't trouble the chicken. Andrea says that you have brought a valid point, Alison. I know for sure that delivery persons here in Canada don't have proper training or food handling certificates. Corinne has also commented, I have seen them packing and repacking the food delivery bags and containers on the bikes. They rest them wherever. Can you imagine if you have allergies? Do you have anything to say about that, Fritz?
If you have allergies or specific food safety concerns before ordering, just make sure you
communicate it to the person taking your order.
Right. You ensure that you give them all the information.
All right. Thank you so much, Fritz. Thanks for joining us today. And my last bit for you consumers is how can you protect yourself? And to double down on some of what Fritz has said. 1, check the delivery services rating for hygiene and delivery safety. Look for restaurants with certifications or those known to prioritize food safety. Ask for a food handler's permit. Ask the restaurant about their food safety measures, especially how they package and store food for delivery, and use insulated bags for delivery, which can help to maintain the right temperature and minimize the risk of bacterial growth. And lastly, when your food arrives, inspect it carefully. If something feels off, don't hesitate to reject it and contact customer service or the relevant authorities. Thank you so much for joining us today, Fritz. It was delightful and insightful to have you.
Thank you very much.
There you have it. That is Fritz Francis, Food Safety Specialist within the Ministry of Health and Wellness Environmental Health Unit. Now, the fun food safety fact for today is that you can freeze time. The fun fact is that freezing food doesn't kill bacteria, but it stops it in its tracks. If you have extra food, just pop it in the freezer and it can last for months. Now, in closing, food delivery is more convenient than ever, but as we've discussed, it comes with risks. Delivery drivers, uncertified kitchens, and mishandling during transport can all lead to serious food safety issues. By being aware and asking the right questions, you can minimize the risks and enjoy your meal without the worry. Thank you for tuning in to the Big Bite Food Safety Show, your go-to source for all things food safety. I hope today's episode has empowered you with the valuable insights. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and I hope today's episode reminds you that food safety is everybody's business, right, Fritz?
That's correct.
Food safety is the government's, your food handling establishment, your manufacturers, and you're the consumer's business. A huge thank you to the studio and production team, technical operators Damian Cunningham and Kevin Williams, my producer Tracy Lyle. Stay tuned for the entertainment block. Let's continue this discussion via my social media accounts on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, at The Food Safety Girl, and on WhatsApp at 876-802-5114. See you next week. Bon appetit.